We're going.
Okay, we're recording.
All right, first, this topic we've been wanting to talk about for quite a while. We see it on the news. I'll tell you, my feeling about it is that I don't want to be a Vietnam veteran. I don't want to be in a foxhole with a woman thinking about sex when our lives could be in jeopardy.
I don't mind being in a foxhole with women. That's perfectly all right. But what's the purpose of the military?
Right.
To defend the country.
To make the rich richer is the point of the military, under the guise that they're protecting the country.
It has to be protecting the country first.
Well, you can't say that to a military person that has his legs blown off.
Yeah, even as so. I mean, I was lucky enough to come away with all my limbs.
They find out sooner or later. They find out the truth, why they're there.
There are other reasons that we don't know, but we're talking about the
Ask Putin why he's got a military and why he did what he did the past couple of weeks. It's important to have a military, even if you don't use them.
Sure, we can't defend ourselves.
If a Putin threatens you and you don't have a military, what do you do?
Yeah, but why is he threatening us?
Well, you have to ask him. I don't know.
Why is everybody? I mean, the U.S. uses its military
so
quite often.
So do
we're
you suggest
currently
we
in a
get
state of being occupied by Russia, even in our minds, not our country. Our minds are being occupied by Russia taking over or trying to take over certain elements of that area, like Crimea. What's the other one now?
I mean, do you think Hitler had a military because he loved everyone? And Hitler.
Oh,
Yeah, why did he have a military? The only reason you have a military, you got to be the toughest guy on the block. Doesn't mean you have to fight. You learn karate, not that you're going to go around beating the hell out of people.
But that's exactly what Hitler did.
Well, he wanted to take over the world. So if we had no defense at that time. We were helpless.
And if we didn't do something, it would have eventually
we would be
taken over
speaking
Europe.
German.
Yeah, but now the United States is acting like Hitler.
Well, that's because of the management, maybe, but it doesn't mean
I wouldn't frame it like that. I wouldn't say that he was like we were like
we're
Hitler.
Not the military.
I think we have to have a strong defense. All nations that do very well in this world, all nations that have ever done well, have a strong defense.
But who are we defending against? We're the aggressor.
That's subject to a big discussion. Where are we aggressing?
Afghanistan.
Well,
that's
how much is too much military? I mean, right now our military is bigger than the next, top 20, and most of those are our allies. So, I mean, how much military do we need?
Well, we can cut back on some of the bases. I would agree with you there. We can cut back on some of the funding that's being issued to the military, but not to have a strong military is a sign for the rest of the world that we're here for the taking.
Oh, sure.
We are being slightly overtaken now. And this is why I object to not having a strong military.
China is building up
subtle
their
way,
military.
we're being taken over now.
China is building up their military.
China,
Russia,
you name it.
Japan.
We're all closing in. The terrorists are closing in too.
They're
all
yeah,
closing
but
in
why
on
are
this.
these people terrorists? Like that's.
You don't have to worry about the why. They'll do it.
No, but I'm just saying.
They'll be here doing it, and they'll be taking us. If they did, I'm not saying they will, but they'll be attempting to take us over. So, do you want to be subjugated?
But that's because the United States is taking over, and they're just like retaliating.
Everybody wants to take it over everybody else. It's just the way it is. I
mean, some people are just having like a.
You're assuming that
it's self-defense.
You're assuming that it's us over them. It's the other way around. My view is it's the other way around. Not that we aren't also doing things that may be.
Well, we're supposed to be the good guys, but we do our share.
You ever hear of John Perkins?
Yeah, I'd rather be the good guy doing our share,
right,
than the bad guy getting eaten up and swallowed by other Pac-Man.
Well, that's sure. I got you.
You ever hear of John Perkins? He wrote the book Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Sounds
you ever
familiar.
hear
No,
his
I never read the
story
book.
and what he did? And
no.
He talked about how this country has been like the aggressor, just moving into other countries, making a few rich people richer and leaving the poor holding
There's been
the
a
pollution,
certain amount
the debt.
Of I don't blame
and the
I
United States
that.
has been doing that for
since the beginning of the time.
Would you rather be if a bunch of people got together? Did you ever see the movie with the boys in it? Oh my God, they were trying to survive on an island. Sooner or later, somebody's got to take over. I can't think of the name of the movie with the boys.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Who's in it?
Too bad. Bunch of kids you wouldn't know.
All right, well that narrows it down.
Seriously, it's a movie about when you put people together in some area, there'll be a pecking order. And there will
Oh.
always be a pecking order.
Lord of the Flies?
So, Lord of the Flies, thank you. So sooner or later, if we're not at the top, we'll be pushed down to the bottom. How far do you want to let that push occur? You're in the middle of this push now.
So
You're being pushed.
saying
We're being pushed out of our charge in the world.
The Ukraine.
How do you want to let it happen
can't be on
altogether?
top forever. I mean,
You can't be on top forever if you take your
the
point of
United
view.
States, we have. I'm trying to remember. Sorry, like the population, but we use like more resources than any other country
Right.
Right,
in the world.
right.
So I mean, do you think that's? I mean, do you
We
think
have
that's-
more people than only a few other countries. There's only a few other countries that have more than we do. There's a
Sure.
bigger
So
land mass. We have
what do you suggest?
more
We stop
natural
using
resources. Yeah, should
resources?
we stop being in business?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, the United States like should use up the majority of the
Well,
resources.
if it's
of
not
the
us,
world.
it's going to be somebody else, right? So,
So
If
You
we
know.
stop using
I don't-
coal,
like, I don't agree
does that
with
mean
that
China is going to stop
attitude.
using coal?
I mean, you got to share everything. I mean, there's got to be,
Okay, let's.
if we're using it in excess, I mean, That's, like,
that's some place where I think you have a position. Like I think.
well, waste is one thing, but just using it because you need it is
Yeah,
something
I
else.
would
you know.
prefer.
well, right. I mean, right. Use what you
I'm
need,
not
but
in
don't
control of
use
that
it in
subject.
excess.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think anybody agrees with what you're saying.
Let's go to gun control. What I believe to my most famous point about gun control that I can recall, I didn't make the point, but it's most pertinent to me, is that the states in our country that have the most crime and the most killings are the states that have the most gun control laws.
yep. I
Chicago,
believe in the Second Amendment.
Chicago, California,
Denver,
Florida,
Detroit,
certain
not
cities.
Denver,
The
Detroit.
City-wise, it's Detroit. What else? Miami, I think. Louisiana, not Baton Rouge. New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, Los Angeles and stuff like that. They have the greatest number of reasons to control guns. Yet, in other places like Backlash, Nebraska, wherever that is, nobody dies, and they have lots of guns. They all have guns. So
Well,
Well, that's people taking responsibility for their life.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot about the culture. Like, if you live in Alaska, you actually have to have a gun to protect yourself. There's bears and, I mean, I don't see anybody in Alaska
that.
without a gun, right?
that, yeah.
And they have,
there are no liberals in Alaska.
right, so they don't, and their murder rate isn't much different than the rest of the country.
what
so.
about the cities, though? Why is it that the cities are
Well, it's strange because New York City is the safest city in the country right now.
one of the major cities?
And they have a big, restriction on guns, but
So the only exception, I think.
yeah, it is. So there's no real rule or anything. I mean,
But they do have, they had the stop and frisk laws. Now they're.
That's true. That's true. But I don't know if that really had a bearing on it.
Tremendous effect.
You think
in
so?
it, and we're going to see that now with the new laws and the new mayor.
Well, the last statistics I saw, because the mayor was bragging already that he's only been in office,
2 months.
2 months, but already the crime rate has gone down,
Oh.
even without the.
Yeah, but things have a momentum.
I agree. I mean, it's still early to really tell, but
Right.
it hasn't shot up all
But
of a sudden.
he's
so-
patting himself on the back.
right. Well, that's what
After
top
2 months.
politicians do, right?
What does
Well-
stop and frisk have to do with the gun laws? I don't.
They were able to get a lot of illegal guns off the streets.
Yeah.
They were successful. It was a successful program.
Well, a lot of the
Stop and
guns come
frisk
from.
again was like immoral.
It was
Well,
immoral,
it's
but it saved your
unconstitutional
life.
too.
It saved your life.
Worked. It worked.
Well, yeah,
How many
but
guns did they get off of stop and frisk?
I'm not really sure. But it's a lot of guns in New York City come from out of state illegally, and that's where they come from. And,
Yeah, but I mean, again, does anybody talk about the fact that the government is like the biggest gun runner? Like,
of course.
So I mean, what about that? It's like it's always like the little guy is always like the criminal.
No, I agree. I mean, the
We
Constitution's
always
there
talk-
for a reason. I mean, we've had
Well, you
this
gotta-
country is 200 and something
Well-
years old, and we've always had guns. It's part of the culture, and we got to learn to live with it.
In Pennsylvania, you're allowed to have pistols. You just go to the store,
Right.
show them your driver's license.
Right.
I'm a Pennsylvania resident,
Okay.
so I have a few pistols.
Mm-hmm.
And my neighbor, who's a wacko liberal,
Right.
doesn't have any guns. What do you need them for? I said, don't worry, Tom. When somebody comes, I'm going to put a sign on my door. I have guns with an arrow to your door. He's got none.
Okay.
Oh, it was a joke. But it worked.
Yeah.
But the thing about guns, I think, overall is that obviously we're making a lot of mistake by putting a lot of money into gun control laws. That's the only place I'm going with this. There are certain places where it might be advantageous to have less guns or to have some kind of
Making
control,
gun
but
laws,
it doesn't
the
seem to
illegal
work.
guns does not stop illegal
Doesn't
guns.
seem to work.
Do you think it should be up to the states, or should it be a federal thing? Because it's in the Constitution.
really
It
getting
should be
me
a federal thing.
I
Because,
agree.
you know,
This is not the only law that I agree with you on that subject.
Yeah.
Because I think nationally, we're crossing state lines so easily now. What's the difference?
well, what's the
How are you
difference?
supposed to know the laws between the 2 states or 3 states?
But
we're right
that's the
next
thing,
to?
the Constitution is the ultimate law, and it says we're allowed to bear arms. So any other law that you make is null and void about
But
it.
we do have local state laws. How do you want to stop that? You see, that's
Well,
the
They
problem.
don't count. They don't count because the Constitution trumps everything.
One thing about
Right?
what we're saying here,
Yeah,
we forgot
we need
about.
to keep it that way because the Constitution is being completely eroded.
Yes,
Yes,
that's the
that's for
problem.
sure.
And
Yeah,
that
with
is- that
all
is
the
that's like a major problem.
I agree. Even with free speech and all the other amendments, I was in New York City, somebody had a table set up and they had a free speech permit. I'm like, what is that? A permit for free speech? I mean, hold up the Constitution. That's your permit right there. There's no, how do you,
Well, it just goes to show you the level that it has deteriorated to. Like we've allowed it to deteriorate.
That we have to stay
to this-
obvious.
Who issues a free
the city, and they think they're allowed to do it, and no one protests it, nobody questions it, and that's how it goes about,
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's
insane.
an illness,
Yeah.
that we've allowed them to get this much
Yep.
goal. Like they have so much goal now.
Yep.
Like how are you going to take goal away from someone that's so used to having it?
Well, that's the problem. People are so complacent
who
nowadays.
is they?
The people.
Well, the people,
people-
I call them
The
sheeple
people-
now because that's what they do.
The
They,
people have gall?
No.
they say I have nothing to
the
hide.
powers that be, whatever
The
you want to
government,
call
right.
them.
Yeah.
The ones that we've, given our power over to.
All right, let's switch up. Thank you for that topic. Let's switch up and talk about my favorite topic, abortion. Why did I say it was my favorite topic? I'll tell you why. Because when abortion, and the reason why I'm bringing the subject up about abortion is that when the debate for abortion was ongoing, I was a college student, and I was one of those people who held up the signs trying to get abortion to go and become legal. And at the time, there was no discussion about anything else other than health and safety. It was never about a woman's choice. It was never about, well, choice didn't show up until 15 or 20 years later. And this is the reason why I'm bringing the subject up, is because we morph laws, just like we probably morphed the gun laws, just like we probably morphed the war on drugs. We just keep morphing laws because some things don't work. We spend a lot of money on them and they don't fix. I'm not telling you that I'm against having any kind of abortion.
Okay.
See, but some kind of.
See, the problem with
some
the whole
kind of
topic
constraint
is,
has to be there.
yeah, I mean, it's not a black and white issue because when is a fetus an actual living thing?
You want to make that determination. To me, the living thing is the minute it becomes a zygote. The minute
But
that
yeah, but
sperm
there's
hits
no
the
heart,
egg and
there's no
starts to-
heartbeat then, there's no brain waves.
Yeah, but if it were
you
left
know.
alone, unfettered, it would be a baby.
But right, but they,
Because it develops on its own.
The sad,
The minute the cell develops on its own, it's alive.
the sad part is we vote for our politicians based on their opinion of abortion.
Yeah,
That's the
Think
least
about that.
important.
But you know what? We have frozen zygotes,
right.
right? And they can stay in the freezer for 100 years.
It's a whole other science,
But that's the same thing, though. It's either you could throw them out or you can replant them.
but they're
And
still alive or
No.
potentially alive.
well, they throw hundreds of them out every day. It's
Let's the preservation of a zygote in some kind of sperm bank or some kind of bank, whatever
Yeah.
it might be, to me is not the discussion of abortion, though. If you think
why
about
they
you're
removed
committing-
it, and now you have the choice. You could throw it out or you can replant it.
Well, at least there's a hope and possibility it'll be alive. When you abort,
Right.
there's no
So
possibility.
you're saying we should save all the zygotes that are frozen?
I'm not into the zygote demonstration and management.
Well,
Once
that's
a
'cause-
zygote is created, in my opinion, in the real world, it should be allowed to live.
Well, if enough people
It should be
agree
allowed
with
to
you,
live.
you could become president now. I mean, it's so.
Who's gonna-
The population are so sheepish, they vote for people based on their gay rights opinion,
Well, that's a
on their
whole other
abortion
thing, yeah.
opinion.
Well,
No,
that's
no,
all politics, though. That's
But
what's wrong with
It's
that?
not politics.
Why?
A politician has
No
an
business in the bedroom.
he's supposed to be.
Well, that's
it
true.
depends on what his job is, but
Yeah.
surely that's low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
It should be
Compared to
more
everything else.
economic and jobs maybe, or balancing the budget
See,
maybe. That's important.
The morphing again is abortion has become the morphed law. If
Right.
it was because I was for health and safety.
Yeah,
This is before Roe v. Wade now.
right.
Picketing for
Right.
some kind of law to show
Well,
up. And Roe v.
you-
Wade. Wait a
you-
minute, let me
you-
get to
okay.
this point.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
We're heading into this place where it's only about health and safety. Let the doctors be legal who do the abortion so they become good. School them on how to take care of this if they're going to do it. And let's let the woman survive and not be dying on the operating table. That was my focus. That was everyone's
Sure,
focus.
sure.
5 years later or 7 years later, the abortions went from, they promised us 8 to 10 weeks, went to 3 months. And they morphed it every other 5
Well, yeah,
to
I
10
mean,
years.
slippery
Then
slope.
it went to 5 months.
Right.
Then it went
That's
to
like
6 months.
kicking the dead
now
can
it's
down the
partial
road.
birth abortion.
Right.
And now we've had recently this doctor who is in jail now who killed the aborted fetuses outside of the womb. Because
Well, that's
they
murder.
didn't die.
Obviously, that's murder. Come on.
Well, you're deciding on the 9-month period or the gestation.
Well, no.
period
Once
being-
it's out of the, it's a baby at that point. It's not a zygote anymore.
isn't
you know.
that
As soon as
part-
it's
Wait a
born.
minute, it goes from a zygote. There's a lot of room in
Well,
between
why-
zygote and a birth.
Why do people have abortions?
A lot of reasons. I mean.
So I mean, maybe they should think twice about, jumping into bed with people in the first place. I mean,
That's not going to stop.
well, that's what I'm
Yeah, I guess
saying.
you got a point
it's
there. He's
like,
probably never
Not-
going to
not
stop.
if you have women in the military
Maybe-
and they're
That's
in
right.
the
If you put a
foxhole.
woman in a foxhole with me long enough, something will happen.
maybe
You're going to
people,
need it. Somebody's going to need an abortion.
maybe people should,
That's right.
like hold sacred the sex act
See,
and not just,
That's not going to happen.
give.
I mean, you got to use birth control.
Well, then you got to
you
pay
know.
the consequences.
Well, we do have birth control. I don't understand why people don't use that. It's like there's so many different versions of it.
And
you
it
know.
wasn't even around. That wasn't really
Right,
popular back
right.
then either.
But I mean, what do you
There's
do?
no- what are the
nothing is
three biggest
sacred
lies?
anymore. Money.
What's that?
What are the three
abortion,
biggest lies?
sex.
The check is in the mail.
yeah. Yeah.
Good one, yeah.
Everything is about money.
Well, it is. It is. We're going back to money again.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
It is a problem.
Well, we're morphing another law here, and let's go on to let's talk about healthcare. You had wanted to talk about the healthcare situation, the current situation with our what's the name? Affordable Care Act. I get stuck calling it Obamacare too.
Oh well.
The Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
problem is that, on its face, wouldn't we all, or should we all, be deprived of our economic existence because of our health insurance need? And that was my objection to before the Affordable Care Act. Before,
Right.
The only problem I had with how we were doing things is there was an awful lot of money being spent on healthcare issues
Well,
when
you can't.
some of us are
you
deprived
can't-
of our
you
economic
can't
reserves.
fix the health care issue if you still allow lawyers to litigate and make tons of money. The only way you can
You mean
begin
on
tort reform.
yeah,
The,
and
the only way you can begin to fix health,
the malpractice things that they go after.
the only way you could fix health care is to get the lawyers out of health reform. I don't know what the percentages, but a huge percentage
Get
of
big
medical
pharma
bills.
out of it also.
Well, if you get big pharma, you won't have cures. So you wouldn't
Cures?
have penicillin. Cures for any diseases. There are new
Medications don't cure diseases.
Oh, they don't?
No.
There's a lot of people. That's a big war of a subject of another day. I get you. I get what you're saying.
Medications do not cure diseases.
There's a lot of
They
issues
just
with the
want to. They
pharmacology
want to just
companies.
milk it.
Well, they cure the
to,
symptom.
keep people, maybe just alive.
Yeah, but look
until
at the
they,
battle.
like-
Look at the battle we
that's-
have with those pharmacology companies making
There's so
products.
many
with all
natural-
those disclaimers that you have to read at the backside, and all these lawyers coming after every pharma. Look how many different things we have coming up. The advertisements
sure.
about going after these pharmacology. So you're trapped. We're trapped in
They
wanting
want-
to get health insurance and having the legal system battle that, right? They're
Well, that's
battling
one of the
this
problems,
thing.
yeah. The legal system,
They
and
don't
then
want
also
people to be
private
healthy.
insurance companies. They make a profit off of people being sick, and if they deny you coverage, they make more money, which to me is immoral. I mean, because you know, you can't put money ahead of someone's health.
How do you beat
But
that back?
that's
I mean,
that's exactly what
sensible.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the only way is universal health care, and yeah, everyone is afraid of socialism. They hate that word, but you know,
But the government can't run OTB and make money. How are they going to run a health care?
well, you know, everyone says they can't run things, but they run the post office fine.
They run the post
ran
office
into the
fine.
ground.
What's the
But
deficit?
because the post office is not supposed to make money, it's supposed to
Why
provide a
not?
service.
FedEx
It's not a
makes
business.
money.
Yeah, because they charge you $10 a letter. The post office charges you 49 cents. It's a, you know, it's a big difference. Well, do you want to pay $10 for your
They
letters?
should balance the budget.
No, it's not a business. The post office is a service. It's a
It is
government.
It's a business now. It's not owned by. It's privately owned.
No, it's owned by the government. It's half and you know, it's quasi. But it's the thing is, the government. No,
That's,
you know,
that's like saying Social Security runs good by the government.
it does
Because they take tons of money in and they shovel it out. That's not running anything.
That's what it's for, you know.
not
And who
running.
doesn't get their check? I mean, they run it perfectly. They really
Perfectly?
do. Absolutely.
There's no money
What
in
are
it.
It's not supposed to be. The government doesn't provide a business. They
It's
provide
a
a service.
Ponzi scheme.
Oh no.
Let people
It's insurance. It's
It
just like
isn't insurance.
all insurance is a Ponzi scheme if you think about it. You know, I mean, what do you have insurance for?
All the money comes in and all the money
Same
goes
thing
out.
with car insurance, life insurance, all that stuff.
How
Money
come we
goes
don't
in
have
and out.
Legal insurance. That's what we
Well,
really
they should. You know.
They do have legal insurance, but nobody could afford it
You
either.
know.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the most expensive insurance you can buy. It's probably worse.
How
Malpractice
can-
is killing the
See,
doctors, though.
The,
It
le-
is.
the legal
You should
profession,
know that it is.
Yeah, well, it is absolutely.
Malpractice insurance is killing the medical profession.
Well,
and that's the lawyers.
yeah, that's a big
That's
problem.
the-
That's a big
all the
problem.
lawyers.
Yeah.
If you don't fix that, you're not going to provide insurance to anyone.
Well, I don't like private insurance. I don't think it's a way to do it because, like I said, it's immoral. You know, they're looking to make a buck, and they don't care about anybody's
That's
health.
called capitalism.
Right, but you can't put capitalism.
Either you have
You can't
capitalism,
apply that to healthcare.
socialism, or communism.
No,
unless
it's
you,
not. That's not capitalism. That's crony capitalism. That's
Mm.
corporatocracy. That's globalization.
I mean, I'm
It's
not terrified
anything
of
but
socialism because
capitalism.
when a snowplow goes down your street, that's socialism. People are paying money for a service. It happens, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, is everybody
tax-
protesting snowplows? They're not.
well, let's have snow plows. Let's have free college. Let's have free medical. And
Okay.
why do you think the Ukraine was taken over?
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine was the #1 country in Russia with A-bombs, with atomic bombs.
Right, okay.
And the United States bought them all from them.
Sure.
They had a huge amount of money.
Right.
They spent it all. They went into deficits. And
Well, it's about money again, yeah. But,
it's
you know.
down to either you got capitalism,
Right.
or socialism, or communism.
Well-
if you have a new type of system,
Right,
please
right.
bring it out.
Well, you got to have a good balance
How
of both.
about, like,
Capitalism
how about justice?
works
How about a
when
just
it's balanced.
system?
Well, yeah, but see, when everybody has an
Capitalism
equal
is not just.
opportunity, then capitalism works. But the way it works now is the rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
I don't know if I agree with if everyone has an equal opportunity.
Sure.
The nature of
The harder you work, the more money you deserve.
that's different than what you said
That's
before.
capitalism.
Yeah, it works fine if it's on an even thing.
You shouldn't have to
Even I would
kill
agree with
yourself,
that.
though. I mean, work hard. I mean, you shouldn't have to kill yourself.
No, but that's the thing. The people on the top, they're not working at all, and they're
Right.
raking in all the money.
Exactly.
So it's
They
exact
got-
opposite.
when you-
No, wait, how
Exactly.
could you say they're not working?
They're not. They're sitting back and they're getting money from
What-
what?
what is Warren-
Stocks
Their
and
money
don't
What,
makes.
what
Tax
does Warren
loopholes.
Buffett do every day of his life?
Oh, he's killing himself.
yeah. Are you kidding me?
He's got calluses like.
He-
over
Yeah,
his
exactly.
hands.
Thank
He
you.
works very hard.
What
How
does
many
he
people-
do?
Yeah, but how
Does he
this
lift
guy-
a shovel? No,
Wait
come
a
on.
minute, wait a minute. This
Yeah.
guy we're talking about here, this rich person who's developed this business,
Mm-hmm.
did something for a lot of people.
Sure, but he planted a seed. Fine, but you
So
know.
you want to now attack him for his success?
No,
He's
no.
not right.
What I'm talking about is where do you draw the line? You know,
I don't
because
draw any lines there too easily, but there is one
What-
place.
what
I
are
can
the
draw line.
Hollywood-
Warren
do
Buffett
for their
doesn't need
money.
you to be
Yeah,
on
the
his
baseball players
side.
are making that
well,
much money.
you know, that's debatable. I mean, some people say yeah, it's an easy job, but being a baseball player, I mean, everybody would do it if it was that easy, right? I mean, you know, swinging a bat, sure, but
Yeah, but it's an entertainment. It's not a functional.
well,
part
that's
of our society.
that's why entertainment business is an
So it's
exception.
gone out of control. Yeah, that's
You
why
know.
we shouldn't be talking about that business.
That's an exception because
But
you
that
got
is
Hollywood.
the idea of
Well, yeah.
somebody who's been successful. I mean, he has to give his money away so he doesn't pay taxes.
Right.
He has to give away money
Right.
to charities. Like,
Well, that's the whole
Legal
tax
reform.
system is, we can talk about
Yeah, but
that
if
too.
the
that's
but-
another
system was
story.
like
You know.
fair and healthy and just, you wouldn't need charities.
All right, two more things here. War on drugs
Okay,
or the
you're in charge of the new system, the just system. Where do you want to set
It's
it
just
up?
got to be healthy. I mean, things just have to be
polarization
healthy.
or war on drugs? What do you want?
The- what are the-
Political polarization, the fact of pulled apart or war on drugs?
Drugs, let's do drugs.
Yeah, I guess so.
Want to do drugs?
What
All
the
right,
hell.
we're doing drugs.
All right, go ahead.
Since 1974,
Wish we had some.
in the Great Society with the Johnson administration, they began this war on drugs. And somebody told me it started before, but I don't know the record for it. So forgive me if I
You
made a
can't
mistake.
declare war on everything.
Well, that's what we say now. But back then, it was really important. It was wow.
They try
holy
to- they
mackerel,
try to
we're
do
declaring
everything
a
by
war on drugs.
force.
We never accomplished anything. We never got
Because
anything
it's
done.
not about what they say it's about. Everything is
Has it
about
always been like
money.
that? You are
they
cynical.
keep it going because it's about money. They don't want to end things. They say they want to. If they want, don't even get me started on 9/11.
I know, but I heard about that. I heard about the war on drugs being something that's feeding everything else. A lot of things, not everything.
Well, it
else.
is.
mean,
The jails,
everything
for
is-
example. See, now they're privatizing the
everything is a
jails. Now it's a
vicious
business.
cycle.
They want to, we have more people incarcerated in this country.
I know.
And it's,
Than
it's
Russia.
insane.
Well, how
Yeah,
do
than
you-
Russia, yeah.
Per
It's-
capita.
It's crazy.
How do
And
you
the
think-
and the prisons are privately owned, so even
Right,
they're
that's my
for
point.
profit.
Right.
I mean,
Are they all privately owned?
Yeah, most of them.
Many
I
of
don't
them.
know
Most of them.
about all, but a lot of them
Yeah.
are
I don't know
about
privately
that.
owned.
That's what they're doing now, yeah. They're privatizing
they
the jails.
take
Because
little
it's
kids
cheaper.
and throw them in jail.
It makes
Why do you wanna
profits, actually.
privatize something? That's the problem with privatization. It
Right.
has benefits
You know,
economically.
Yeah, capitalism is great. So let's have private prisons and throw
Again, that's immoral.
12-year-olds in jail. Like
Right, right.
this documentary
No,
that just came out, Kids for Cash.
Yep.
Why can't you be, not you, why can't we,
Hey,
why can't our
capitalism.
society figure out a way to make that work? Because you don't really want to overpopulate prisons.
Well, now they do.
Nobody-
It's a business. Now they want to
It's
do
already-
that.
I know it's
So you
already-
gotta
So
stop
that's what I'm saying.
privatizing
do
that.
that.
They're past the point of trying to solve problems. They're to the point where they're profiting off of
Right,
problems.
right.
That's what people need to get. That is
Right.
the reality.
We do get that.
They don't care
that too,
about
right?
people. I
Well,
mean,
You
they
get that
just
too.
care about.
Prisons are like courthouses. You got to keep them full. They're like hotels. If you don't keep them full, why build them? So
Yeah.
as soon as the government builds one, they must pack it right to the top
All right,
and say we
they're
need
saying,
more.
They're saying the private sector is doing that, not government. Packing
Private
the-
sector
packing the-
is
Yeah, because
running
they
a
make more
prison.
money.
I don't know.
The more, the
The
more.
I
private
have to look
sector
at
is
this. I
running
really look
a
at it.
prison cheaper than the government can run it.
The private sector generally can run it cheaper. However, then it's a business unto itself, right? It's a business operating.
Yeah, they make a profit
So
off
then
of it.
everything is just about going through motions and pretending, that we're trying to solve crime or stop drugs or
Right.
abortion or whatever
That's
it is.
what we think.
Well,
It's all
now.
just an
They-
act.
they-
Everything is
again,
a big
they-
act.
now.
It's what we.
That's what it
they don't call
is.
them prisons. They call them correction facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are they correcting?
What are they correcting?
Yeah, good point.
They lock.
Right.
It's one of those
Right.
oxymorons again.
Yep.
It's like,
That's
You're
never
right.
going to happen. It's, that's
well,
not gonna happen.
it's like
some other possibility.
health care. Nobody cares about your health. You're the only one
That's a
that
good
cares
point,
about
too.
your health.
That's a
Yeah,
good point.
hopefully people care about their
gotta
own
close up.
health.
Okay.
We're out of our time segment today. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
Yes, and I didn't realize that.
Did we accomplish anything?